Hey guys, greetings. Welcome to Wealth for Real Facebook page, going live on Friday, December 1st, 2023. Kind of can't believe it's already December, but you know, the time flies faster and faster. So, yeah, guys, been busy the last couple weeks, travel, holiday, stuff like that. So just haven't been able to jump on a live. Really just got a couple of Twitter voice tweets out that kind of captured some of the things I've been seeing and wanted to react to lately. But you know, just kind of missed getting on the live and kind of doing a data dump. So that's why I'm here now. You know, one of the big things, guys, that I was commenting on Twitter, I think that's where I wanted to focus right now, is just this idea of the national debt and all the conversation around it that I've been seeing, which has grown more than I've seen in the past. You know, which is encouraging that it's even part of like the conversation. You know, I honestly, like, you know, felt for a while like nobody gave a crap about it, but you know, a lot of the stuff that I see that's on the sort of dissenting side, like why does the national debt not matter? Who cares? Like, who cares how big it is? You know, it could be any number, you know, 50 trillion, 1,000 trillion, you know, whatever. You know, and there's some opinions like that out there that I've run into. And, you know, I always kind of said to myself, like, well, what's the argument? Like, you know, how do you counter that in a succinct way, like without sitting down and, you know, talking about historical facts from 100 years ago, or, you know, just really getting real dry about the subject? What's just the pithy kind of response to it? And so this is something, as I say it to you guys, it's nothing new. It's nothing groundbreaking. It's just groundbreaking for me as an individual to articulate this fact and to be able to say something about it, you know, with any kind of, you know, with any kind of comfort level. And that is, I just came up with a phrase I sort of repeat in my head every time I ask myself, you know, why does the debt matter? Or you're like, oh, look at this person's post. Why does the debt matter? You know, it's this, quote, debt is fake, period. Interest is real, unquote. Okay, so what I mean by that, guys, is forget about the national debt for a second. Think about your personal credit card, okay? And let's say, you know, let's say you have a credit card that you got, like, I don't know, $20,000 balance on it, right? Well, you know, that $20,000 balance is probably, unless you're religious about paying on it, that $20,000 is a mixture of actual debt, like money you spent on something, like you bought a $500 plane ticket or something like that, and then the interest that's accruing on it, which then that interest accrues more interest, right? It compounds, right? So that $20,000 is fake in the sense that it's a representation of your indebtedness that then produces a monthly bill that you have to pay. And if you don't pay that monthly bill, it's not how fast you pay the $20,000. You could take your entire lifetime to pay the $20,000, right? You could die and your estate will absorb the $20,000 debt and nobody ever will pay it. It could literally go unpaid. But what's real is every month, based on the balance and based on the interest rate and so on and so forth, there is a bill that is due to that credit card company. And if that bill goes unpaid long enough, guess what happens to your credit card? Guess what happens to your finances? Guess what happens to your credit score, right? Bad things, right? So when people say, so that's just putting it down at a personal level, an individual level. Let's talk about, you know, the United States, $34 trillion, $33 trillion national debt. That debt is producing an annual interest payment. And that annual interest payment, if you imagine a pie graph, right, with like pizza slices on it, right, that annual interest payment is growing into a larger and larger and larger pizza slice. And given that, you know, but for the Federal Reserve, money doesn't grow on trees, that interest has to be paid somehow, right? Something has to pay the interest bill that comes due every year for the United States, okay? And we're hovering near, not quite there yet, we're hovering near $1 trillion a year in interest on the debt. And we have so much more debt to accumulate, given our unfunded liabilities, given, social programs like Social Security, Medicare, things like that. There is so much higher, okay, for that, that 34 trillion to go, okay? So much higher. But right now, at 34 trillion, at this interest rate, it's almost $1 trillion a year in interest. Big, on that pie graph, that pizza slice is growing. And what happens when the pizza slice grows? Other pizza slices get smaller, right? So infrastructure in the country, pizza slice gets smaller. Ability to respond to things like natural disasters and, federal emergency aid gets smaller. Reinvesting in education, smaller. Reinvesting in healthcare, smaller. Smaller and smaller pizza slices so that bigger and bigger and bigger interest slice can be serviced. Okay? So in the end, guys, that's really the answer. Is that, in a sense, at near 0% interest, yeah, the national debt doesn't matter at all. Who cares? Who cares what number it is when you're not servicing any interest payments on it? But when you start getting into the interest rates that we're getting into now, and the Federal Reserve has raised interest rates well into the 5% range, I believe it is now, somewhere between 5 and 6%, I believe is the number. And remember, an artificially produced number by a board of, I believe, 12 people, if I remember correctly, sitting around a table, looking through economic data with all the limitations of a human being. Didn't have enough coffee in the morning, a little bit sleepy, pissed off at their husband or wife, and they're coming up with this number. Artificially produced number. What is the interest rate? Well, let's see. It's 5.25% now. Maybe it should be 5.5% next month. These oracles looking into their crystal balls. It's absolutely maddening that's the reality of it. But anyway, guys, so that's the deal, guys. That's the answer. If somebody says to you, if you're a passionate anti-national debt person like myself, if somebody says to you, what does it matter? Who cares? We're never going to pay it back anyway. Nobody wants us to pay it back, right? Nobody expects us to pay it back. The reason it matters isn't the debt. It's the interest. And the interest is the problem. And when you add in the fact that our federal taxes pay interest on the debt, then you have a problem. Then you have a bigger problem, right? That you're paying taxes, your federal tax, not your state taxes. Your state taxes are paying for your roads and your schools and your bridges in your state, and things like your local taxes paying for your municipality, your county. But federal taxes, the lion's share of it, and maybe all of it, but my understanding from a U.S. government website is that federal taxes service the interest on the national debt. So as that national debt interest bill goes up, guess what has to happen to your taxes? Or they have to print more money to pay the interest. So now you're not just printing money to go into debt. You're just printing money to pay the interest on the debt, right? It's absolute madness, right? So anyway, guys, that was, I hadn't had a chance to jump on a live in a while. That was really the main thing I wanted to sort of kick things off. There's about 10 or 15 different things that I've seen come across the wire, different accounts that I follow, stuff like that, that I've wanted to talk to you guys about. But this was kind of the most pressing one that was really weighing on my mind. So I want to get this out to you guys now. And would really be curious what your thoughts are on that. Is that something that can be further refuted, or is it pretty airtight? The debt is fake, and I mean that loosely, obviously, the interest is real. So I want to just leave you guys with that. Hope everybody has a great weekend and kick off December. We'll definitely be back next week with some more content. Got to get some long form videos up over on YouTube and stuff like that. Just do some walkthroughs, sharing the screen and things of that nature that I got planned. So in the meantime, leave a comment or a question below, guys. Would love to tackle that for you, or just kind of ponder it on my end. But yeah, in the meantime, guys, hope everybody has a great weekend, and we'll talk soon. Thanks for watching.